Yes, hello and thanks once again for returning to Classic Dirt Bike TV as we continue with the racing highlights from round 2 of the Scottish Classic Motorcycles Racing Club's event at Townfoot Farm in Thornhill. I do hope you enjoyed the racing action from part 1. This is of course part 2, and we're going to continue with the age related races for the second part of the day's programme. Now this is the combined pre-77s, over 50s, over and under 40s, and also the 125 class. So as you've no doubt guessed, these next few races are based on the rider's age and not the particular bike that he rides. So it looks like we're just about good to go. Stuart Riddle is our official starter today. So as they leave the line, it looks like a good start by Andrew King on the HIS Stormer, but looks like that's Mike McClurty on that CR125 Honda two-stroker that's taken an early lead. It looks like Liston Bell is in second position, so quite a contrast there between the little 125 Screamer and Liston Bell's big 600 methanol breathing Jawa machine. So as the riders make their way down to the river section of the track on lap 1, it looks like it's still Mike McClurty on the little CR125 who is the race leader, but of course 3 or 4 different classes in this formula here, so they will be scored separately as they cross the finish line. As we take a look at number 79, that's Liam Lamb on his 250 Michael, but it looks like Liston Bell has now taken the lead of this race with Mike McClurty on the little 125 very close behind. So it looks like Liston Bell has hit the front of this race with number 416 there. That's Mike McClurty on the CR125 little Buzz Bomb. Quite a contrast in sound when these two bikes go past, with the big 600 4-stroke single cylinder Jawa machine off Liston Bell's and that little Revy 125 CR Honda of Mike McClurty. But this is a good lead that Liston Bell has in the early stages of this race. And number 128 just coming down the hill there, that's young James Haddo, also riding a CR125. Number 17 is Mike van der Meer, also on a CR125 Honda. It's still Liston Bell, number 98, as he heads towards to cross the finish line to begin another racing lap. As I mentioned previously, Liston and his brother Lewis are using this Thornhill event as a little warm-up race before their big race event at Butterfield in Reading in the British Championship the following weekend, so hopefully the guys will do quite well down there. As we take a look at number 79, that's Liam Lamb on his 75 250 Michael. Another one of those old AW Michael twin chokers. But as you can see, the weather here at Thornhill is absolutely perfect for this kind of classic racing. The forecast was for showers throughout the day at this venue, but you can see that that has certainly never materialised, thankfully, but we're not complaining in that department. But it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, number 98 from second place, man number 125, that's Mike McClurty. Number 112 is Andrew Johnson on that old British made Dot. Looks like Liston Bell's had an off-track excursion. He's got half the track tapes wrapped around his machine, so it looks like Liston's going through the tapes at one point, but as he crosses the line to take the win, it's another good win for Liston Bell, with Mike McClurty crossing the line in second, and here's your third place man, number 124, James Haddo, on a CR125 Honda. Okay, that brings us to the second age-related race of the day. This is the over 60s and over 65 class, the veterans of the Classic Club. Not too many riders available for this race, but nonetheless it's nice to see these boys still taking their bikes to the track. It looks like a good start there by number 14. I think that's Brian Hamilton, who's riding that 4-stroke Yamaha, but it's Stuart Roden on the CCM who takes the early lead. It looks like Derek McCauley's in second position on the 250 Bultaco Persang. Archie Baird is in third position on the 3L Noripati CZ, just making his way down the hill there. So it looks like our race leader is still at number 20. That's Stuart Roden. Now you may remember Stuart did very well on this CCM bike, riding in the pre-1975 class earlier on. Second is number 180, that's Archie Baird. Third is Fergus Moody. Number 122. Fourth is Derek McCauley. Number 14 is Brian Hamilton. And number 41 is Peter Dobinson, riding that lovely sounding Rickman Triumph Twin. Now Stuart Roden, of course, still riding the CCM, and Stuart used to ride these bikes way back in the day and was quite a good friend of the late Alan Clues. So Stuart doing very well on the CCM, but it looks like Fergus Moody is now moved up into second position. And if you like looking at your CCM bikes here on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel, then stay tuned, because I'm shortly to visit Rob Hughes' fantastic collection of CCM bikes. So I'm going to be taking a trip to the south of the country to film Rob Hughes' collection of old original CCM. So look out for those beautiful bikes coming to my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel very soon. So there's your race leader, Stuart Roden. Second is Fergus Moody, number 211. Archie Baird is in third position, number 180, with Derek McCauley in fourth. So there's your race leader, Stuart Roden. We're going to look at the battle for second, third and fourth. It looks like Fergus Moody is still in second position. Archie Baird is third. And there's Derek McCauley on that quite quick and nimble little 250 Bultaco Persang. So as the riders cross the line to begin another lap, it looks like Stuart Roden has quite a good lead over second place man, Fergus Moody. Archie Baird also riding quite well on that very unique 3L Noripati CZ machine. It looks like we've got a change of second place rider. It's now Derek McCauley who's your second place rider on the 250 Bultaco. Fergus Moody is now third. Archie Baird, number 180 there, is down into fourth position at this point. But here's your race leader, Stuart Roden, number 20 on the Alan Clues CCM bike. Well, it looks like it's going to be his first win of the day for Stuart as he crosses the line to take the win, but it's going to be Derek McCauley in second with Fergus Moody in third. Okay, that brings us to our fourth race for the pre-1984 class, and as you can see, a very good lineup of bikes for this pre-1984 class. And just take a look at some of the riders. Rider nearest you there, number 36 I think that is, that's Ronnie Craig, but we're just waiting on a few riders taking up positions. Robert Kennedy there is just pushing his CCM into line. Looks like Paul Chiappa is there as well, Craig Smith, Mark Kenny, of course, who were all very quick in those previous races, but it looks like everybody's lined up and ready to go. As Stuart Riddle lets the riders go. It's a good start by Paul Chiappa and Mark Kenny. These two had a fantastic tussle in the previous races, so we'll see who comes out on top in this race, but it's Paul Chiappa with the early lead over number 121. That's Mark Kenny on the C&J 4-stroke Honda. Craig Smith is also in third position, but this has been a good start by Paul Chiappa. It looks like Colin Lee has taken a bad tumble going down the hill there. I can see this race is going to have to be stopped. Yes, the race has indeed been red flagged, so you'll have to have a complete restart as the paramedics tend to Colin Lee, but hopefully Colin will make a full recovery. So we're going to go to the restart of the pre-1984 class race as they leave the line once again. It looks like Paul Chiappa again has made a good start into turn 2. So as they make their way round, it's certainly Paul Chiappa, your race leader. Second is Craig Smith. Third is Mark Kenny. So some very quick... Oh, dearie me. Craig Smith nearly came a cropper there at the exact same spot that Colin had his accident previously. But it looks like most of the riders have made it safely round on this lap 1. So it's still Paul Chiappa with that slight lead over number 121, Mark Kenny. Craig Smith is certainly on the move. Number 75 is David Loudon. Graham Smith just going through. Number 4 is Robert Kennedy on the CCM bike. And number 43 there is Andy Malik, who is this time riding his Montesa 250. But it's Paul Chiappa who leads Mark Kenny. Craig Smith is in third position there, number 25. Remember, Craig had a slight spill going down the hill in a previous race in the pre-1984 class, but it looks like he's back up to speed once again. So as we're on lap 2, it's still at number 2, Dunfermline Motorcycles owner Paul Chiappa on that flying 490 Michael, but Mark Kenny is quite close behind on his 600 C&J Honda. Craig Smith is still in there in third position, but as they come towards us, it's still Paul Chiappa, your race leader, from number 121, Mark Kenny, in second position. This could be a good race towards the end of this race if these three manage to lock horns. We've taken a look at number 4 there. That's Robert Kennedy on the 560 CCM machine. And it's quite hard to imagine that number 2 here, Paul Chiappa, is now approaching 63 years old, and he still rides that old Michael like he was just 16 again. But this is a good race between these front 3 runners of Paul Chiappa, Mark Kenny and Craig Smith. They're certainly motoring around this Townfoot racetrack. So as they come round again on lap 3, it's still Paul Chiappa who leads Mark Kenny from number 25, Craig Smith. Now number 18 there is Mike van der Meer, but he appears to be riding Jim Colligan's 490 Michael for some strange reason. But this is certainly a good scrap between these 3 very quick riders. We're looking at second place man Mark Kenny. Craig Smith's just trying to go down the inside there, but Mark manages to hold on to that second place position. So as they make their way down past a tree section at the far side of the track, it's still number 2 Paul Chiappa on the 490 Michael. Mark Kenny in second place on the 4-stroke Honda machine, but Craig Smith certainly looks like he's quicker in the turns on that Michael machine. We're looking at number 233, that's Graham Smith on the RM 400 Suzuki bike. Now these pre-1984 riders of course will have another 2 races to do yet here at this round 2 event at Thornhill, and it looks like Craig Smith has been through the tapes as well. He's got quite a ribbon of track tape wrapped around his machine there, but as they go into turn 2, it's still Paul Chiappa from Craig Smith in second place, and Mark Kenny is now in third. But this is a very good scrap between these 3 talented riders. As we take a look at number 18, that's Mike van der Meer, who normally rides with number 17 on his bike, but he's obviously borrowed that machine from Jim Colligan. Now, there doesn't seem to be any sign of Paul Chiappa, who was leading this race. This is your new race leader now, number 25, Craig Smith, so I don't know what's happened to Paul Chiappa as they cross the line to start their last and final lap. Maybe Paul's had some kind of mechanical issue at the far side of the track, but it's certainly Craig Smith, your race leader. From second, Mark Kenny, number 121 on the 4-stroke Honda. But there is Paul Chiappa, number 2, who was leading this race, but it looks like Paul's coasting and heading towards a DNF in this particular race, so it looks like it's still this man here, number 2, Craig Smith, your race leader, as he heads towards the checkered flag. So it's going to be the first win of the day for Craig Smith, and it looks like Mark Kenny is going to cross the line in second position. Okay, we're back to the second race for the combined over 50s, over and under 40s, and of course the 125 class. So this could be quite hard work for our intrepid lap scorers to decipher all these different classes that are in this single race, but it looks like we're good to go as Stuart Riddle pulls the tape, but it looks like Mike McClurty has made another good start on that CR125 Honda machine. It looks like Liston Bell is in second position with Andrew King currently in third, but as they come towards us, it's still Mike McClurty with Liston Bell second. Of course, the Scottish Classic Racing Club don't have electronic transponders fitted to their bikes. We still do the lap scoring the old fashioned way, just like old school classic racing. So number 17 there is Mike van der Meer, number 125 is James Haddo, number 79 is Liam Lamb, and number 49 is Ian Marr on the CZ. But here's the battle for the front of the pack. It's Liston Bell on the 600 Jawa, who leads Mike McClurty on that little 125 Honda Screamer. Andrew King just making his way through on the HIS Stormer. But you've certainly got a good combination of motorcycles in this race between this big 4-stroke single of Liston Bells and that little 125 Honda of Mike McClurty. But as you can see, that little 125 bike of Mike McClurty is still managing to keep Liston Bell in his sights. These little 125s are so quick and nimble around these tight and twisty tracks. Number 124 there is again another 125 rider, James Haddo. But it's still Liston Bell who is your race leader. Mike McClurty is still flying around on that little 125. But this has been a good shift for Liston Bell here at this round 2 event. He's had quite a good few performances during the day. Number 17 is Mike van der Meer. Number 79 again is Liam Lamb. But it's still Liston Bell who is at the front of this pack. But remember, there are 4 different classes in this particular race, but they will be scored separately as they cross the line, but it looks like Liston is heading towards another win, and of course it will be Mike McClurty who will cross the line as a winner in the 125 class. Okay, next up we are back to the veterans of the over 60s and over 65s. Not too many riders left in this group, as there was quite a long delay while the medics were taking care of Colin Lee, and many of the riders decided just to finish early, but the ones that have stayed behind are still taking part, and it's a good start by number 14, Brian Hamilton on the 4-stroke Yamaha bike. Looks like Peter Dobinson has also made a good start, but it's Derek Macaulay on the Mark 7 250 bull tackle who is your race leader. Second is number 41 Peter Dobinson. Third is Fergus Moody on the outside there, number 122 on the BSA. So as they come round to complete lap 1, it's Derek Macaulay who leads Fergus Moody, number 122. Peter Dobinson is still in third position, but it looks like Fergus Moody is challenging Derek Macaulay's 250 bull tackle for that lead position. Now this little bike of Derek Macaulay's may just be a little 250 2-stroke bull tackle, but you can certainly make it shift around this Townfoot racetrack. So it's Derek Macaulay there, your race leader from number 122, Fergus Moody on the BSA in second position. So it's a Spanish bull tackle versus the British made 4-stroke BSA machine. Now this racetrack here at Townfoot Farm in Thornhill has certainly got a lot of history, and I've personally been attending this meeting for about 15 years, and it's always been a cracking event each and every time you attend. But it looks like Fergus Moody is now your race leader. I think Derek Macaulay's got some trouble with his bull tackle in the background there, so it's number 122 Fergus Moody your race leader. It looks like Derek Macaulay has now got going once again, but he's quite far behind Fergus Moody, but still in that coveted second position. And we're looking at number 41, Peter Dobinson, on one of his lovely triumphs that he normally brings to these events. He has this Rickman Triumph, and he also has a lovely Cotton Triumph as well, as we look at Brian Hamilton. But it's still Fergus Moody, your race leader. Derek Macaulay is up and running once again and beginning to close in on Fergus Moody, but I think it's going to be too late for Derek. But Derek's still doing well on that 250 bull tackle purse sang as they cross the line to start their last and final lap. Now of course only 5 laps for these classic bikes, but of course we don't show each and every lap, just to try and keep the video to a manageable size. So as we look to pick up our race leader, it's still Fergus Moody who leads Derek Macaulay on the bull tackle. Once again, 2 different age groups in this class race, the over 60s and over 65, so once again they will be scored separately as they cross the line, but it's going to be Fergus Moody who is going to cross the line first, and we're going to take a look here at number 29, Derek Macaulay, as he cruises to the finish line. It looks like Mike Walker's got a bit of trouble with his old machine as he pushes it back to the paddock. Now, quite a decent selection of spectators at this event, although officially spectators aren't allowed at the Scottish Classic events at this point in time. So as we take a look at the next pre-1984 class. Another good lineup of old twin shockers and older riders, if they don't mind me saying that. Looks like somebody's got a bit of a problem trying to start their bike on the right of our picture there. They're just holding up the start until he gets it fired up, but it seems to be good to go now. So our race starter, Stuart Riddle, is just about to let the bikes go. And as they head into turn 1, it's another blinding start by Mark Kenny on that 4-stroke Honda. And if you look out on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel, we're going to take a closer look at this bike in my next video posting, so look out for that. So it's Mark Kenny on the C&J Honda who's your race leader. Craig Smith is in second, Paul Chiappa is third. It looks like Graham Smith is in fourth on the RM 400 Suzuki. So as they continue with lap 1, it's still Mark Kenny, your race leader, from this man here, number 25, Craig Smith on the black Michael. Paul Chiappa is still in there in third position. It looks like Graham Smith is still in fourth on the RM400 Suzuki, but this could be another good battle between these front three runners. But Paul Chiappa got some drive coming down that back section and absolutely rocketed into second position. So it's Paul Chiappa who's now on the move in second position. But here's your race leader, number 121, Mark Kenny, on that 600 4-stroke Honda. Now this Honda of Mark Kenny's, of course, is just one of the many bikes that Mark owns. He also has a couple of HPF 4-stroke Hondas from the Horsepower factory, so he's well used to these big 4-strokers. But it's still Mark Kenny, your race leader, from number 2, Paul Chiappa on the 490 Michael. So as a race leader comes round to complete another lap, still Mark Kenny at second, Paul Chiappa, but Craig Smith looks like he's closing in on that second place of Chiappa, so we may see a change of second place quite soon. And as you can see, the weather conditions are absolutely fantastic here at Thornhill. The forecast rain that we had for this area has certainly never materialised, thank God, but it's good to see these guys racing in these quite dry conditions for a change. So we're looking at Mark Kenny just making his way through, but it's still a battle here between number 2 Paul Chiappa and number 25 Craig Smith. And don't forget, you can see more Scottish Classic racing when we go to our round 3 event that's to be held at Lockerbie on the 8th of August, and you'll be able to see all the racing from that round 3 event here on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel. Number 47 there is Steve Moore as he chases down Andy Malik on that 250 Montesa Capra. But it's still Mark Kenny, number 121, your race leader. Last time around it was still Paul Chiappa in second position, and it still is, but Craig Smith is still chasing him down for that second place position. Now both these riders, Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith, of course both from my hometown of Dunfermline in Fife. So a couple of local riders for me, but here's your race leader, Mark Kenny, number 121, and it's still Paul Chiappa, number 2, who leads Craig Smith in third position. But this has been an awesome race for Paul Chiappa, who's already won a couple of races in this pre-1984 class, but as they start their last and final lap, it's still Mark Kenny, your race leader. So as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it's been another good ride by Mark Kenny on the 600 C&J Honda. But here's the battle for second and third, but it looks like Paul Chiappa is going to have to settle for second position this time. and Craig Smith is going to cross the line in third. Okay, that brings us to the final race for the over 50s and the over and under 40s, and of course the 125. So this is their final race of the day. So once again, as they leave the line, it looks like a good start by Andrew King on that HIS Stormer, but we have a new change of leader. I think that's Mike McClurty once again on the little 125 Honda. Liston Bell again is out in this race, and looks like Liston is just about to take the lead. Andrew King in third. Looks like James Haddo is in fourth position on the little 125. Liston Bell and Mike McClurty had quite a good little scrap in the previous race. So it's the big 600 Jawa versus the little 125 Honda two-stroke, but Mark McClurty's giving a good account of himself here on that little 125 to stay with Liston's big 600 single cylinder machine. But once again, all these riders will be scored in their individual age groups as they cross the line. Number 416 is Mike McClurty. Coming through in third there is number 124. I think that's James Haddo. Number 293 is Andrew King. Number 79 is Liam Lamb. Number 17 is Mike van der Meer. And number 43 is Andy Mallock. Although, as I mentioned, if these are the kind of bikes that you like to look at here on YouTube, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and that way every time I upload a brand new video you'll be one of the first to be told about it. So please consider hitting that subscribe button. So it's Liston Bell on his 600 Jawa, your race leader. Second is still Mike McClurty on that 125 Honda. Number 79 is Liam Lamb on his 1975 Michael 250, and number 17 is Mike van der Meer. But another good performance by Liston Bell, and quite a good performance as well from Mike McClurty here on that 125 to try and keep up with that big methanol burning 600 Jawa bike of Liston's, although of course both these riders are possibly racing in different age groups. So as they begin the last and final lap, we're looking at our race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. It's going to be yet another win for the very talented Liston Bell as he comes to cross the line to take yet another race win. Okay, next up, that brings us to the over 60s and over 65s. Just about 4 or 5 bikes left in this group, because this was getting quite late in the afternoon, and most people by this time had had enough of racing for a day, so decided to go home early. But these guys are still at it here on the track, and it's Fergus Moody who has taken the early lead. Brian Hamilton is in second on the 4-stroke Yamaha machine, but Fergus Moody is quite quick on this BSA bike. Brian Hamilton, number 14, making his way through. Peter Dobinson once again is in third position. So most of these classes at this round 2 event here at Thornhill have had 6 races each, so quite a busy day for a classic rider when you come to the Scottish Classic events, but nonetheless it's still quite good racing as we take a look at number 14, Brian Hamilton, on what looks like an old 500 TT Yamaha that he's riding, just behind Peter Dobinson there on the Rickman Triumph Twin. And of course we've just recently heard of the passing of Derek Rickman, one of the brothers who built and designed these Rickman frames away back in the early 1960s. Derek's certainly left a lasting legacy when he leaves behind all these beautiful Rickman frames that himself and his brother Don designed way back in the day. But we're looking at number 122, Fergus Moody on the BSA bike, and still in second position is still Peter Dobinson on his Rickman Triumph. But of course these Rickman frames were designed to take all kind of manner of racing engines, and they could certainly build a frame for any conceivable type of motor, whether it was a two-stroke or 4-stroke. So that's these beautiful Rickman chassis. But this has been another quite a good ride by number 122 Fergus Moody on his BSA. Peter Dobinson at number 41 is still in second position, but I do hope you've enjoyed all the racing footage and the bikes from this round 2 event at Thornhill. Don't forget we will be showing you more bikes and racing footage when we cover round 3 for the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club when we visit the border town of Lockerbie on the 8th of August. So it looks like this is going to be quite an easy run to the checkered flag for Fergus Moody. Doesn't look like Peter Dobinson is going to get close enough to make any kind of challenge as Fergus crosses the line to start his last and final lap. Still Peter Dobinson in second position, but I think Fergus could just about cruise to the checkered flag on his last lap. Still Peter Dobinson there on his Rickman Triumph in second position, so it should be quite an easy second place if Peter doesn't have any mechanical issues. But here's your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. It's number 122 Fergus Moody, taking it very easy as he crosses the finish line, and Peter Dobinson just making his way through to take second position. Okay, that brings us to our final race of the day. It is of course the pre-1984 class with their last race. So these guys of the pre-1984 class have had 6 races today, so plenty racing for these twin shockers. As we just take a look at some of the riders lining up. Number 25 is Craig Smith. John Porteous just taking his position there on the big Curtis Honda. Number 47 is Steve Moore. Number 2, Paul Chiappa, trying to find a place in the lineup. Mark Kenny's also lined up. Andy Malik is out this time on his Montesa 250, but it looks like everybody's in position. Just waiting on Paul Chiappa putting his goggles on, prepared as always. So it looks like everybody's set and ready to go. It's down to Stuart Riddle to let them go for the last race of the day. It's another good start by Mark Kenny on that 4-stroke Honda bike. And so as they exit out of turn 2, it's Mark Kenny, number 121, who leads at number 75. That's David Loudon on the YZ490 Yamaha. Craig Smith is in third. Paul Chiappa is in fourth. Steve Moore just making his way through there. So as they head round on lap 1, it's still Mark Kenny. David Loudon is in second Craig Smith is still third. Paul Chiappa is fourth. That looks like one of the Smith boys going through. And just coming into shot is number 35. That's John Porteous on that Curtis Honda. So it's still Mark Kenny with a decent lead over second place man Craig Smith. David Loudon is starting very well in this last race on the YZ490 Yamaha. Paul Chiappa is still in fourth position as we take a look at Graham Smith just making his way down there on the 400 Suzuki. But this has been a good afternoon for Mark Kenny on the Honda. Craig Smith is still second as we look at Paul Chiappa number 2 on the 490 Michael with the green plates on the bike, which of course should be yellow backgrounds with black numbers, but Paul said he found them lying around his workshop, so just stuck them on the bike. Now I don't think if he's thinking that people will maybe see this as a 250 machine, but he's maybe trying to fool other riders to thinking that this is a 250 when it is of course 490. So as you can see, it doesn't take long for these pre-1984 bikes to complete a lap of this Thornhill circuit as we look at second place man number 25 Craig Smith, but it looks like Paul Chiappa's closing in on that possible second place position. So as we head down, this is the part where Paul has been passing people. It looks like he's got that same line once again, so Paul has just dived down the inside yet again and stole that second place position from Craig Smith. Craig Smith going down the inside and looks like he's going to try and make it stick as they go down the hill, but it's still Paul Chiappa in second place with Craig Smith in third. So here's the battle for the lead of this race. It's now Mark Kenny who's still your race leader, but Paul Chiappa is closing in on Mark Kenny, so this could be a grandstand finish to this final race of the pre-1984 class. Now let's just see if Paul Chiappa can do the same to Mark Kenny as he did with Craig Smith, and it looks like he's going to give it a go, and he has. He's just stuck that big Michael down the inside of Mark Kenny, so that's your new race leader, number 2 Paul Chiappa. Second is now Mark Kenny. I don't think Mark will be too happy about getting that pole position taken away from him by Paul Chiappa. But I must say Paul Chiappa's been riding absolutely fantastic here at Thornhill, but it doesn't look like Mark Kenny's finished just yet. He certainly wants that pole position back once again, but these two guys are riding the wheels of these machines. Craig Smith is still in third place, but it's still Paul Chiappa who leads number 121 Mark Kenny. So it's the 490 Michael versus the big 600 4-stroke Honda of Mark Kenny. As we take a look at number 233 there in the yellow, that's Graham Smith on his RM 400 Suzuki. So as our race leaders come round to start their last and final lap of this final race of the day here at Thornhill, it's still Paul Chiappa who leads Mark Kenny in second position with Craig Smith in third. So this is the final lap of the final race of the day, and it's still Paul Chiappa, your race leader. Paul Chiappa has been riding absolutely fantastic here at Thornhill. Craig Smith is still in there in third position. So it's basically all now down to this last half a lap, but it's still number 2 Paul Chiappa who leads Mark Kenny. So as they exit the turn, Paul Chiappa nearly dropped his bike there, but Craig Smith has sneaked down the inside, but Chiappa is fighting back and takes the lead once again. So as they head towards the checkered flag, it's going to be a win for number 2 Paul Chiappa. Second is going to be Craig Smith, and it's going to be Mark Kenny who's going to cross the line in third. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed all the bikes and the racing action from this round 2 event here at Thornhill, but don't forget to retune to my channel to see more vintage racing right here on Classic Dirt Bike TV.